The restaurant went silent the moment a small boy, no older than 6, marched straight toward the most feared men in the city. People froze, breath caught, chairs creaked. The boy's tiny hand reached up, grabbed the Mafia boss's silk tie, and pulled. "One of your guys made my mom cry," the boy said, voice trembling but brave, "all night." The Mafia boss, a man who could silence a room with a look, didn't blink. But something in his eyes flickered, something no one had seen before, and that single moment would change every life in that restaurant. The evening crowd inside the upscale restaurant buzzed with quiet tension. Whispers floated between waiters as a group of sharply dressed men took over the back table. Their leader, Adrian Moretti, known for his cold authority, sat like a carved statue. The staff walked carefully, knowing a single mistake could cost them their job, or worse. Near the entrance, Lena, a young mother in her late 20s, worked as a waitress. Her eyes were soft but tired. She carried trays with a trembling grace. And behind her, a small boy with messy brown curls sat quietly drawing on a napkin, her son, Evan, only 6, waiting for his mom to finish her shift. But that night, something was different. Lena had returned to work after a 2-day absence, and the moment she stepped into the restaurant, one of Adrian's men, Marco, smirked and muttered something cruel about her request for time off. The words hit harder than he intended. She kept serving tables, but tears quietly filled her eyes, slipping down as she tried to hide them. Evan noticed everything. From his seat at the corner, he watched his mom blink away tears each time Marco barked orders or mocked her for being weak. Evan's tiny fists clenched. No one was allowed to make his mom cry. No one. As hours passed, Lena's breathing became shallow, and every time she approached the Mafia table, Marco found a way to make her feel smaller, until finally, she broke. She stepped behind the counter, wiped her cheeks, and whispered apologies to no one in particular. Evan had had enough. He stood up from his chair, heart pounding like a drum in his small chest. Without hesitation, he marched across the restaurant floor, each step echoing louder than the clatter of plates. Customers turned, shocked that a child would dare approach the Mafia boss himself. Adrian was mid-conversation when something tugged his tie sharply. He looked down. Evan glared up at him with wet eyes and shaking lips, but a bravery no adult possessed. "One of your guys made my mom cry all night," he said. "You're their boss. Fix it." Adrian didn't laugh. Didn't scoff. Instead, he studied the boy, his boldness, his pain, his trembling courage. Something in Adrian's chest shifted, a feeling he hadn't allowed himself in years. The entire room watched, breathless, waiting for the storm to erupt, but Adrian leaned forward, voice low and steady. "Show me," he said. "Tell me what happened." And suddenly, the most feared man in the city was listening to a 6-year-old like he was the most important person in the world. Evan pointed straight at Marco, who stiffened in his seat. Customers watched as Adrian's gaze turned sharp and cold, not violent, but disappointed, like a father who expected better. Marco stuttered, "Boss, I was joking." "She's just..." Adrian raised a hand. Silence fell instantly. He rose from his seat, towering yet calm, and walked toward Lena, who had frozen in the corner with wide, terrified eyes. She immediately stepped back. She expected anger, punishment, humiliation, anything, but Adrian surprised everyone. "Miss," he said gently, "did my man hurt you?" Lena shook her head quickly, fearing consequences, but Evan stepped in front of her protectively. "She cried at home too," Evan said. "She thought it was her fault. But she works hard. She's good. She's the best." Adrian's expression softened in a way his men had never seen. The boss who ruled without mercy was now kneeling to meet the eye level of a child. "You're brave," Adrian said. "And your mom is lucky to have you." He turned to Lena. "No one under my command should treat anyone like that. I'm sorry. Truly." The restaurant gasped. A Mafia boss apologizing publicly. Marco was ordered to step outside, and Adrian handled him privately, not with violence, but with consequences that taught respect and restraint. Marco returned pale, humbled, and apologetic. Then Adrian did something even more unexpected. He returned to Lena and Evan's table and left an envelope, not of money, but of support. A note inside read, "You deserve to work without fear. If anyone bothers you again, call me, not as a boss. As someone who believes kindness builds stronger empires than fear." Lena's eyes filled with tears again, but this time, they were tears of relief. Evan smiled proudly, holding his mom's hand. Adrian ruffled his hair and... As the restaurant returned to motion, one thing became clear: sometimes, it takes the smallest voice to reach the coldest heart, and sometimes, the most feared person in a city just needs a reminder that kindness isn't weakness. It's power.